What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about how you can train your brain to automatically reach your goals. Your brain is the most complex, most powerful, most potent machine that we are currently aware of in the universe. And it's inside your little skull. It's incredible. But most of us aren't really tapping into the full potential of that magnificent, squishy, gray matter between your ears. And so what I want to share with you today is a 6-step process that you can use to program your brain to make your goals an inevitability. That sounds pretty good, right? So let's dive in. Number 1, the first thing that you have to do to train your brain to reach your goals is you have to identify the target. And that sounds obvious. However, most people, when I sit down with them to do a vision casting session, which is what we call it, vision casting, what does the future look like? Where are you trying to go to? Most of them either don't have a clue and they're like, I don't really know, or they have a clue, but it's not so vivid that they can live inside of the memory of the future in the same way that they could live inside the memory of the past. And that's important because this is woo-woo, I grant that. But stick with me. Time is not an objective concept, right? Like time does not have an objective reality outside of your brain. It is your interpretation of the sequence of events that are playing out on a moment by moment basis that then gives the illusion that time is passing. So you have a memory of the past. But in the same way, if there is no objective reality, that these things are just happening concurrently, that there is just nothing but a concurrent present, then you could stop to consider that the past and the past and the future have already occurred. Now, that's very woo-woo, but here's the cool thing. What if that was true? Then could you remember the future in the same way that you remember the past? Like we think about that as like visualizing the future, right? Like manifesting that thing. But what if it was as simple as remembering that memory? And so that's what I want you to think about is, can you identify the target, the thing that you're moving towards, to the same degree of specificity that you could remember what you were wearing yesterday, or what you had for lunch, or a big conversation that you had yesterday? That's where we're trying to get to. So number 1, identify the target and the memory of the future that we want to remember. Number 2 is that now that we see the target, we need to start visualizing the target. And it's not just enough to see the movements of that memory. It's not just enough to say, oh, I see myself walking into the room. I see myself celebrating as all the balloons and the confetti go off and somebody hands me the book and the award and they're like, congratulations, you New York Times bestseller, right? Like it's not enough to do that. And that's where most of us stop when it comes to visualizing. But what you need to do is tap into the emotion that you feel in that memory. It's not just watch it like a movie and see you going through the motions, but actually tapping into the emotional state that you had. Like, what does it feel like inside your body as you are achieving the thing that you have set for yourself? The more that you can tap into the emotion, the more it's going to drive the motion on a day-to-day basis that will eventually lead you to pulling that memory back into reality. And I really want you to think about that language that I just used there. You're using this to pull the memory back into reality, not to make it into reality. It already exists. It's already out there. The thing that you want, I want you to go through life operating under the belief that it has already happened. It's just a matter of pulling it into your current reality now, into the present moment. Now, number 3 is to review the target daily. And most of us, we set our goals once a year. We sit down at New Year's time, maybe every quarter, and then we put the goals aside. We maybe look at them every now and then. We pull open our phone, we have them in the notes app, and every now and then we'll scroll through them. But I want you to get maniacal about the process of reviewing and seeing your goals. Your frequency is what you frequently see. So if you frequently see your goals, every time you pull open your phone, your goals are listed there. Every time you go to brush your teeth, the goals are listed there. Every single time you sit down on your computer, there's a Post-it note on the screen that you have to pull off every single time before you can do work. And on that Post-it note are your goals. The more you see it, the more likely you are to achieve it. Now, what I want you to do, though, when you are looking at that is, again, it's not just enough to logically process oh, my goal is to do X, Y, Z. It's to take a second, close your eyes, take a breath, and embody that. Feel it, like the emotion of that goal having been realized, and actually take 1 to 3 minutes to embody it. And I want you to do that as frequently as possible throughout the day. But what I recommend, or not what I recommend, but what I require from my coaching students is at least 3 times a day. So morning, afternoon, evening. Put it in places where you know you're going to hang out. So what we call watering holes. If you always hang out at your desk, put your goals everywhere on your freaking desk. If you hang out on the bathroom a lot, put them everywhere. Put them on the toilet seat, put them on the mirror, put them on the toilet roll, right? Like put them everywhere so that you're constantly having to confront these things, because the more clearly you can see the target, the more likely you are to hit it. We cannot hit the target we cannot see. So the more often we are bringing it back to the forefront of our mind, the more likely that we are going to alter the behaviors on a minute-by-minute basis that would help move us in alignment with that goal. Just think about like the particular activating system. When you go buy a red car, all of a sudden you're driving around and all you see are red cars, right? Like it's trite, but it's true. Your brain is trained to see the things that you've expressed are important to it in that moment. And so if you are constantly looking at your goals, you're going to see opportunities throughout your day that you might have otherwise missed. As you're in a conversation with somebody, you're like, holy crap, he just said that thing, which is actually in alignment with this goal that I have. I bet we could do this collaboration and work in this way, right? You wouldn't see that opportunity if it wasn't top of mind constantly. So the next step is we're going to manifest the target. That is, we're going to pull it into reality. Manifestation is the act of reaching through the veil of imagination to pull an idea into reality. Another way to think about this is that you are reaching through the veil of time to pull a memory into the present, whether that's from the past or it's from the future. That is what we're going to do. And the most powerful way that I have found to do this is through the act of writing. Your brain cannot distinguish between reality and fiction. Your brain doesn't know. Any thought that you have, it just says, okay, that must be true, right? So if you ingrain these negative beliefs, these limiting beliefs, or empowering beliefs, your brain's just going to buy into it. And what we can do is rewrite those thoughts, rewrite those visuals that we have going through our squishy brain through the act of writing, because writing is nothing more than the physical manifestation of your ephemeral thoughts. It is the process by which you take your chaotic monkey mind brain, all those thoughts that are just jumping around, and you force them through the pen tip onto the paper. You now have thoughts on paper. That's one of the coolest things in the world. But as you are writing, because you are recruiting so many interesting parts of your brain and your motor neural network, it is ingraining those thoughts in a more deep way than when you're just thinking them. So think like if you were just to think a thought right now, you're trying to think about a poem, the poem is going to resonate very differently in your brain, and it's going to stick much less potently than if you were to write the poem down. As you write the poem, you are reprogramming it. In a very real way, you are reprogramming your mind. And so writing down what it is that you are trying to manifest, to pull into your current reality, is vital. And I recommend that you do that every single morning, pretty much first thing when you wake up. Get your journal out and actually just write out, here is my goal, here is what I'm doing, and write through the memory and embody that as much as possible. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road in tip number 5, is that you need to triangulate your activities to hit the target. It's not enough just to sit around and review your goals constantly and sit around meditating and being like, ooh, I'm going to hear the secret. I'm going to manifest my dreams. I'm just going to scream affirmations in the mirror. Nothing happens if you don't do anything, right? Nothing happens unless something happens. And you have to take action at the end of the day. So what we want to do is you want to sit down at the beginning of each day and actually write down, what are the activities that I'm going to execute today that would lead me to increasing the likelihood of pulling my memory of the future into my current reality. Write those down and then actually go and prioritize them, actually execute them, time block and put them on the calendar. Which brings us then to the end of the day. That brings us to number 6, which is that you need to hit the target with your subconscious. So we're trying to hit this thing from all the different angles, right? Like we're trying to write it, we're trying to visualize it, we're trying to feel it. Well, you spend, a third of your life in sleep in a state of unconsciousness, and your subconscious brain is not shut off during that period of time. It's still doing very active things. So here's what I want you to do. Is when you're laying in bed before you fall asleep, is I want you to visualize the goals that you have. I want you to visualize those memories. I want you to embody the emotions, but I also want you to think back on the previous day. And I want you to review, what did you do that day that worked well? and what could you do better tomorrow that would move you in alignment with that vision that you are trying to pull into your current reality. I want you to celebrate in that moment the actions you took, the inputs from that day. Don't worry about the outputs. Those are irrelevant. We just focus on, did I take the steps? Did I do the work? Did I actually execute here? And if you did, then in time, it's just a matter of, time until that thing that you're working towards reveals itself. But I want you to fall asleep going through that process, visualizing what it is you're trying to work towards, feeling the emotions, going to sleep with a smile on your face, and then reminding yourself that you get to do it again tomorrow. And that's awesome. And if you just repeat this cycle, it becomes an inevitability that you are going to pull your goals into the current and realize them. So that is the 6-step process. Let me know down below, which of these can you start implementing right away? It doesn't have to be all of them simultaneously. Pick one to start implementing for the next 2 weeks, then pick another one to layer on top of it. Which one are you going to put into play? Put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Otherwise, just hit subscribe, make sure that you're tuned in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.